Hey there, this is Kunal here, your international trade expert. Welcome back to our channel, JBS Academy.
For latest updates, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon.
Today, we have an important topic to discuss, especially if you are involved in international trade or business. We will be diving deep into Incoterm 2020, specifically focusing on CFR, which stands for Cost and Freight. We'll explore its use case, responsibilities, risks, and benefits. So, if you're ready to expand your knowledge in this area, stick around for the next 5 to 6 minutes. Let's get started. Before we dive into CFR, let's quickly recap what Incoterms are. Incoterms or international commercial terms are a set of standardized trade terms used worldwide to facilitate smooth international transactions. They define the roles and responsibilities of both the buyers and sellers in shipment of goods. Incoterms are periodically modified and the last update was in 2020. CFR or cost and freight is one of the Incoterms that specifies the seller's responsibilities and obligations up to the point of delivery. In a CFR transaction, the seller takes care of the cost and the responsibility of transporting the goods to the named port of destination, which is typically mentioned in the contract. Now, let's break down the responsibilities of both buyer and seller in a CFR transaction. Seller's responsibility. First, let's look at what the seller is responsible for. Delivery to the port. The seller is responsible for delivering the goods to the named port of destination, typically on board the vessel or the dock. Then we have cost and freight. The seller covers the cost of transportation and freight charges up to the named port of destination. This includes loading and unloading expenses at the origin port. Export clearance. The seller must handle export custom clearance, which involves obtaining any necessary export licenses and paying export duties or taxes. Buyer's responsibility. Now let's shift our focus to the buyer's responsibilities in a CFR transaction. The buyer's responsibilities include: first, import custom clearance. The buyer is responsible for obtaining the import licenses, permits, and paying any import duties or taxes upon the arrival of the goods at the destination. Risk transfer. The risk of loss or damage to the goods typically transfers from the seller to the buyer when the goods are on board the vessel at the port of the shipment. Therefore, the buyer should consider purchasing insurance to protect against these risks. Now that we have covered the responsibilities, let's discuss the benefits and the risk associated with using the CFR Incoterm. Some of the benefits of using the CFR include: first, simplified cost. The seller's responsibility for transportation cost simplifies the pricing for the buyer, making it easier to calculate the total expense. The buyer knows when and where the goods will arrive as it is specified in the contract. Thus, it makes the arrival very predictable for the buyer and he can plan accordingly. On the flip side, there are risks to consider. First, limited control. The buyer has limited control over the shipment until it arrives at the destination port, which could lead to delays or issues. Second is risk of damage or loss. As mentioned earlier, the risk of damage or loss shifts to the buyer once the goods are on board the vessel. Insurance is critical. I repeat, insurance is critical to mitigate this risk. In conclusion, CFR, cost and freight, is a vital Incoterm that defines the responsibilities, risks, and benefits for both buyers and sellers in international trade. By understanding these terms, you can make informed decisions that will help you ensure the smooth flow of goods and reduce potential disputes. Remember, it's always essential to consult with a legal and trade professional when dealing with international transactions to ensure compliances with regulations, and to protect your interest. Thank you for tuning in today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe this channel for more such informative content, and if you have any questions or topics you would like us to cover in future, please leave us a comment below. Until then, this is Kunal signing off. Till next time.
For detailed learning of all logistics subjects, visit www.logiveda.com.